Okay, YouTube, this is White One Auto. We're checking in again today. Right now we got I think it's a 2009 BMW X3. We bought this thing from the auction. It was a no start. So as you can see, they tried one PCM. Let's get the other one out of here. They tried two PCMs. You see they got markings on there right there too. So this car came from the auction. So like I always tell people, man, I would say in my experience, about 90% of the time, it's never the PCM. It's always something else. So I went through a bunch of checks and I had like power on a couple spots where I shouldn't, that should have been grounded. So I'm like, damn, this is crazy. So we got like a wiring problem someplace. So I'm checking everything and still didn't find out something. Nothing. So I checked my engine ground, and I know I got my charger hooked up. It's giving me 14 volts and a brand new battery in here. But when I go from power, here, I'll show you right now. So right here, I got my battery charger hooked up. You can see right here, you get 14 volts. So I have my test light hooked up to battery positive. So if I go to ground, I should still see 14 volts. So if I go to this ground over here, I'm getting like 14 volts right there. So that's good. So this thing is a big oily mess. So I check at my alternator here, which should be grounded to on the engine. I had like 12 volts. I'm like, well, okay, so it's dropping a little bit. Then I check over here at like the cylinder head, and I had like 8 volts in some spots, 10. It's coming up good now. So 7. But when I went to start it, I wouldn't do anything. So I knew that like my ground was bad. So let's try to start it again. See, I'm turning the key, nothing. So it wouldn't even crank. So I'm like, well, damn. So I just went, and I got a quick, just a little piece of like jumper wire right here, cable. So I'm gonna hook this up to my negative right here, and I'm gonna hook this up to the engine, right? Well, I'm gonna go right here. So go in there and I'll try to crank it now. Now, you see what I'm saying? The car cranks now. It did not start, but that's a real simple fix. I can get this thing to start once I fix this ground. So this here is our continuation about our auction bought BMW. So got our key, stick our key in. See, she's running. These used PCMs were not the problem. The problem was not a PCM was bad. The problem was it had a bad ground. I will show that to you. So this was our ground that was bad. I'll cut this thing off here. See, that ground went right here. It went right here on the engine up to our spot on our body ground. Because remember, our battery is in the back of the vehicle and it's just got a cable that runs to there. YouTube, I just want to thank everybody for making it this far in the video with us, and I just want to give you a wrap up on our 2009 BMW X3. We bought this car at auction, and when we saw the interior pictures of it, even though the description said no crank, no start, vehicle is and out, we were able to see that on the passenger seat of the car there were 2 PCMs. So there's these 2 PCMs sitting on the seat, plus there's still the PCM that's in the car that makes it run right now. So that is a huge red flag to me, because I program PCMs for other shops, mechanics, DIYers, and I would say 90% of the time when a person brings me a car that does not crank, does not start, and they say it's a PCM, the PCM is never the cause. It was a wiring issue. And in this case, it was a wiring issue as well. This car has a rear mounted battery that has a short ground cable that grounds to the body, and at several points in the body, other ground cables are installed to ground things like the engine. This was your engine ground cable. It was broken off right here. So we replaced this with a ground cable that I made up for it, and the car cranked and started then. So a couple points I want to bring up to you about replacements of PCMs or ECMs or brain boxes or whatever terminology you or the manufacturer want to use for it. If you take your car to a mechanic, whether he or she be shade tree, a dealership, a franchise store, a mom and pop garage, if they tell you your car needs a PCM, but we don't program PCMs, only the dealer can do that, I don't do that, be very, very careful, because every car for the past 25, 30 years has had a PCM in it. So if you call yourself a professional mechanic and are not able to program PCMs, or have not developed a relationship with a person, a man or woman who goes around to different shops and dealerships and programs PCMs for them, you should not be condemning a component that you cannot fix. Because if you're not able to fix it, you're most likely not able to diagnose it when it goes bad. So be very careful for somebody to tell you that your PCM, your ECM, your brain box, your main module in the car is bad, but we don't fix that. Be very, very careful of that diagnosis. I would not take that diagnosis. You need to come to a place here like White One Auto or any other qualified mobile mechanic or franchise store or whatever. Well, yes, we are going to charge you to diagnose your car. I will not diagnose your car for free. If you have a problem with that, that's just on you. I do not work for free. I wouldn't expect if you were a plumber and you came to my house to work for free, because it's my house. Just like this is your car. Your car broke, not my car broke. So I can fix your car, but it will cost you money. And I will stand behind whatever I tell you the fix is for your car. And another reason why I think a lot of these PCMs get replaced when they don't need to be replaced is because people don't want to pay that diagnosis. But let's just run over something right quick. I looked at some internet sources. The average cost for this PCM is $175. So that's 2 PCMs. So right now we're talking $325 plus tax. Plus they paid the core on these 2 because the original PCM is still in here. And that's a very good point I want to make. If anybody ever tells you your car needs a PCM, I don't care how much the core is on that remanufactured, the refurbished, new, used, whatever, do not get rid of your original PCM that was in your car until you have verified that everything works the way it should. Because there are lots of cars out there where you can put a used PCM in the car and it will run and start after you calibrate it or program it or code it or whatever. But if it's not done correctly, certain features on your car will not work or will not work correctly. You have messages on your dashboard that were not there before, and your car will not perform as it is designed to perform. So until you get your car back, you verified, say give it like 7 days or so, you've been through some drive cycles, It should be then set all of your monitors where you can make sure all of your emission things are working correctly. Your ABS, every system in your car is working as it was when it was brand new or before the suspected PCM went bad. Once you verify that everything is working the way it should, then turn that PCM in for the core. Because if you get rid of that original PCM and they were not able to find one that exactly matches, and that PCM wasn't your problem, now you have created a very big problem. So let's head back to the replacement of PCM. Like I'm saying, a lot of people end up in that spot because they don't want to pay a professional mechanic or a technician what it costs to diagnose your car. But if these things average 175 bucks, you have two of them right here. So this right here is $350. I guarantee you, I could have found that this ground cable was bad for $350 or less. And then we would have either bought a new cable from BMW or I could have made you a cable. So what you would have paid was just for me finding what the problem was, and then to the cost of this cable and the cost of replacing this cable. That's it. Whereas in this case, you spent a minimum of $350 plus programming both of these PCMs, plus they got a new key, plus they programmed both of the keys to the PCM. So I would estimate this person probably spent at least $1,000. And the car still didn't run. And then they're like, shit, I'm $1,000 into this car that still doesn't run. I'm gonna trade it in, I'm gonna junk it, I'm gonna sell it or whatever, when this was your problem. And the person that did that was not a good mechanic or technician, because the starter on this car would not engage because it didn't have a ground. The starter on this car grounds through the engine. Like pretty much every starter on every internal combustion engine has grounded through the engine for probably the past 70 years. So, although this is a very sophisticated BMW fine driving machine, the problem with it was a very simple problem. We had no engine ground. And any certified mechanic or technician should have been able to figure that out. I mean, it's a simple 12-volt electrical system. You know, you can power and ground. Check your power and ground first, and then it's probably all downhill from there, you know? So, a couple key points I want to touch on is that if you are ever told your car needs a PCM and the person tells you that they are not able to fix that, get a second opinion. It's probably going to cost you some money. Well, it is going to cost you some money, but it will probably save you money in the long run. Second point is, if you do need to get a new PCM for your car, do not get rid of your original PCM. I would advise you, no matter how much the cost of the core is, until you have verified that everything is working good. Because it's a core, so you have a certain amount of days, whether it be 10 days or 30 days, for you to give that part back and for you to get your money back. So you're not going to lose anything by just waiting a couple days to make sure that your car operates correctly before you send your original PCM back. And the second thing is, I know we've been really, really slow with videos, but the shop has been really, really busy. And we are going to get back to doing hot rod cars. I got like 2 cars coming up for vintage air installations. I got my personal 1970 Chevelle that we're going to get back on the road. My wife's 2 Mustangs, and I have a Monte Carlo build that's coming up. So remember to continue to like, subscribe, comment, and more content is coming. And thank you for making it this far. White One Auto out.